Hello, everyone. It's your favorite hoochie daddy here, Orlando. And today, me and my lovely woman, Mila, did a wonderful live about the five senses of intimacy and just how intimacy can be constructed into your life. We thought it was a beautiful live that we want to leave it with y'all on audio and video format so that you can enjoy it as well on our page. So enjoy this about an hour live with me and Mila speaking as a bonus episode for y'all to enjoy. Really thought it was a special conversation and a beautiful conversation that is worth hearing by everyone. So enjoy. I never knew
there was a like this.
So I wanted to let people join. We're starting a little bit late because we're parents and it's Saturday morning and I'm a little bit under the weather. And of course, I also promised to take my kid to an amusement park because I'm the best mom in the world.
Yes, you are. Yes,
are you coming?
No, I don't feel that well.
You're full of shit.
What? How am I full of shit?
Because you are.
Every time I deny something, I feel like you're coming for my fatherhood. You want to be daddy of the year, but you don't even come and you're so full of shit. I feel like that's how you treat me.
Optional daddyhood is not daddyhood.
I thought that's what stepdaddy mean. Like I can step in and step out.
Yeah, no, that's not what it means.
I'm just saying.
Make sure you keep using step then.
No. I'm just joking. But speaking of this intimacy thing, before we get started, I want to give you your shout outs once again. Because I was feeling deep in intimacy last night when you were rubbing my head and like scratching my scalp. And the reason why it was so touching for me was because I thought that you thought that I fell asleep because I was sitting so still and you still kept rubbing my head even though you thought I was sleeping. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, she might be thinking that I'm sleeping. I should let her know that I'm not sleeping so that she doesn't keep rubbing my head. So I popped my head up and I said, did you think I was sleeping? She was like, yeah. And I said, and you still kept rubbing my head? She's like, yeah. And I was like, you're so kind to me.
I rub your head a lot when you're sleeping.
Yeah, but I didn't know that you were doing that because I was sleeping. And I thank you for that. To just doing something for me that has absolutely no benefit for you is one of the greatest signs of love for me.
That is your intimacy of choice. People always talk about love languages. What about intimacy languages?
Ooh.
You like that?
I do like that.
So that's your intimacy language?
That is my intimacy language.
Physical touch without it benefiting me at all?
Yeah, no benefit to you. You get nothing out of it. I love when you get nothing.
That makes sense. I think my intimacy language is massaging too, even though you don't do it much.
I can massage right now.
Because you say that you're not good at it. Orlando, stop.
I'm a massager.
This is gonna look very. Okay.
Never mind. You didn't know it was gonna be a butt massage, did you?
My form of intimacy is when you pay for me to get a massage.
Okay, that's it. You ain't say all that. No. You ain't say all that.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, friends.
The Hood Fairy said, hello, lovers.
I know, I saw Nicole. Happy Saturday morning.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
We just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about the different forms of intimacy, how we cultivate intimacy in our relationship, why it's important. And I know, like, people have been in long-term relationships, and sometimes it feels like it's lackluster, or it gets routine, or roommate-like.
It's my roommate.
Transactional, and sometimes it's hard to cultivate and remember to do the little shit that you used to do in the beginning because you got shit to do and bills to pay.
Like butt rubs.
Yeah, like butt rubs. So, what are some ways, like, what is intimacy to you? I think people think intimacy and they think sex. But there's, like, so much more, there's so many more layers to intimacy.
Like a cake.
Like a cake.
I got that one from her.
You did. Layers to a cake. Like, there needs to be a robust palate. You know, if you have a good meal, there's a starch, there's a this, there's something a little bit sweet, there's something savory. I eat that way. I like texture. I like different flavor explosions.
She does like the texture and the flavor explosions.
So, intimacy is the same way. You have to cultivate the intimacy in a lot of ways before it comes to just getting in the bedroom. By the way, this is our bedroom. And I painted it black recently.
She did paint
all
it black.
by myself.
By herself.
Except for the 5 minutes he did help me, he fucked it up, and which he has not even fixed yet. Anyway, I'm working on not pointing out the negative and the obvious in my intimacy practices.
And that's one point of intimacy, not to point out the negative.
But to reinforce the positive.
Reinforcements.
I think we're going to have to go live out of this room more often. It feels very intimate.
It's sexy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I do like it.
This is the first time going live in our bedroom, and I am very proud.
Yeah, no, she worked very hard to make this bedroom as sexy as possible. I never thought a room could be as sexy as we are, but it's very fitting for us. And in this room, this is
You're not late, Tina. We just started. We late.
No, you're right on time, baby. What was I saying? And in this room, we really get to like flow and feel all our different flavors of intimacy, and one of them is the physical touch. We are talking about intimacy language.
And you know, and that's something that people. I just thought about that when we were talking about the room. I think people underestimate environment. Is your space sexy? Does it cultivate intimacy? Does it cultivate? I'm feeling sexy. I'm feeling myself.
Does it curate a space for you even to get into the intimacy? Because if you're trying to be sexy and loving and intimate, but it stinks,
or the house is dirty,
or it's dirty, it doesn't really connect with the intimacy and the vibe that you're going for.
For instance, there are some things that are dirty in this room right now, and it's distracting the fuck out of me.
There is nothing dirty in this room, and we're going to stay focused on this live.
But yeah, like cultivating a tidy and sexy space that cultivates and brings out the space to even think about the person that you're looking at. We are living in a place where everything is distracting. We have we're on two different lives. We're on Hoochie Mom and Dad and Good Moms. So
hi, everyone.
If I'm doing this is why. It requires a lot to focus, and it doesn't seem like you should have to do a lot of things to focus on your partner. But let's be real. Like, when things are important, things being important is not enough, because there's so many things to be distracted by.
Yeah.
So having a space to an environment that cultivates sexiness is important. I literally designed our house for evening ambiance. There's lots of lights, there's lots of candles,
Lots of colored lights.
There's lots of incense, not white in and out lights. Warm lights.
Warm lights. And the reason why this is important is because it fires off all your senses, right? If it smells good, then your sense of smell is great. If your environment is clean, then you're more comfortable. If it looks good, it gives off a visual effect. And then when it comes to the part when you're like, oh man, this feels so nice. I just wanna touch somebody. I don't even wanna fuck you. I just wanna touch you, because this space is so beautiful and nice. And then that's what starts off the path to possibly sex, or possibly just a beautiful moment and experience with somebody. But the environment itself is really what hones in and is the beginning of the journey of intimacy.
Yeah. And even thinking of like igniting all your senses, Tantra really talks about all of the senses, you know, and so all of the elements, all of the senses, and even in meditation, you know, like making sure there are things close to you that bring you joy and that like activate your senses. We're drinking tea, it's warm, it tastes good, it makes me feel cozy. I'm wearing silk. Our sheets are silk because we're extra. My comforter is velvet. And so is my bed frame.
And her man is chocolate.
You're a fool. So there's a lot of, there are things that you could do on a regular, daily, dimmable. Yes, I have dimmable lighting. I love aromatherapy. It literally entices your partner when you appeal to their senses.
Yes, that's what we're getting at.
Ding, 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 ding.
We're sending you a free item. Check your mailbox.
But that's true, you know, people underestimate. Even like Orlando cooks for me, or we drink wine at night, you know, and there's, or like, literally, this reminds me, last night, I was like half dead, sleep, and he came in the room and slipped a strawberry in my mouth, and I was like, organic.
Oh, fellas, you know, just a little tidbit. That's like a post intimacy or post sex like tip.
Treat.
Treat,
it's like
yeah,
treating your dog, like, good girl.
Yeah, you gotta give him a treat. You were so good. That pussy is so nice. Here's a little strawberry baby. So after you go get the rag, right? Wipe her up.
Warm.
The warm rag. Always make sure it's warm. You wipe her up. You go to the kitchen, or make sure you have some fruits available. Strawberries, grapes, anything else that you might like?
Cold. Sometimes he brings me tangerines.
Tangerines are good, just like the small mandarins. Just very bite-sized fruits that you can consume while she's already in that orgasmic feeling in that space, and boom, explosion in her mouth again.
This is true. But before we even get to the sex, or, you know, the physical intercourse, there are so many things just throughout our day and practices that we are actually just our routine now, because this is just how we live. And I think sometimes people don't do things because it's cheesy or it feels silly, and
Or it's sometimes, as far as, I'm sorry to cut you off, babe, but as far as men, we feel like we need to get there, and this is taking too long. But it's really the marinating of it that makes the intercourse itself even better. But it's not even about the intercourse itself. It's about intimacy having its own space and its own moment, and the intercourse having its own space and its own moment.
and also just like not going straight to the intercourse, but extending, elongating the experience, because we can jump in the bed and stick it in and fuck, and that's fine. But it really, like, when you can really pull it out and really ride the wave, like, sex doesn't have to be like, it could literally be an all-day journey, an all-year, all-week journey that is constantly being cultivated and poured into. It's like having a soup, you know? And then you're, like, letting it simmer, and you're putting more things in it until it's all the way full, and, like, there's layers, and it's robust, and it's boiling. But you let it, like...
I'm so happy that you mentioned food, because when I think about having sex without intimacy, I think about fast food. I'm just going to go get a quick meal, quick fast food, just going to throw my burger in a paper bag, and that's it. But when you add intimacy to it,
when you go to your grandmama's house, not my grandma, she couldn't cook, but like when you go to someone's house who you know can cook,
and you get a dining experience,
and you wait all day to eat because you're not gonna fuck it up, because you're gonna wait to eat this really robust meal. And
you know, when y'all be like, you know, I'm not eating that right now because later on I'm gonna have some.
I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna smoke a blunt. I'm gonna get ready, and I'm gonna savor it, and I'm gonna have a to-go box.
And then you know you're gonna get your little bites, right? You're gonna get an appetizer, but it's about getting that fine dining, beautiful experience, and that comes with preparation.
And not just fine dining, but home cooking, you know? And so I think a part of our practice that really, I think, takes our intimacy to the next level is that we're practicing all day. It's not just when we get home. It's not just because it's Monday and Wednesday. It's because we're doing this is our lifestyle. Intimacy is a lifestyle. It's not just like it's Valentine's Day, it's your birthday. Like, of course, there's things that you apply on special occasions, but how do you treat your relationship like a special occasion all the time?
She's spitting.
Because the truth is, relationships we forget, and they become dull because we're not pouring into them like as if they're a special occasion every day. And I do this with Mike, just in life in general. I think life is fucking increasingly complicated, and sometimes I have to refrain the way I think about it. Like, I am so grateful to clean my house for my family. I'm so grateful to have a house to clean for my family. I'm so grateful that I have a man I can take care of and like tend to, because if I don't think that way, I'd be like, everybody's taking from me, I'm doing everything, everybody's annoying, and I have to feed these motherfuckers again. You know, that's the truth. Like, that's how my mind can go and get. And so if I'm not constantly cultivating the mindset that is important for me to to remind myself, like, this is a gift and my pleasure. Like these are all things that are a gift and a pleasure to be able to pour into and to cultivate. And I think sometimes we forget that, just because we're not in that mind frame. And so I like to think of being in the mind frame of like a rom-com. You know, like sometimes when you're younger and you watch like romantic cheesy movies and you cry at the end and like
I'd be crying.
I know. We aspire for it, but we don't recognize that we can really obtain it in our own lives. And so we don't really do the things. We just watch the movie and like, I wish that my happily ever after would look like that. But guess what? Like the nigga from The Notebook and all these other movies are not in your, like, you can be those people, but not make out, Jessica. You're beating my ass. Why would you listen to Jessica? But like those are the things that are required. And you know, I'm lucky that I have a super cheesy man.
It's me.
Who is consistently, constantly over the top, cheesy romantic. And at first it used to make me embarrassed.
If it's gonna keep y'all on here.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, wow, yes, I oftentimes look at things in the negative, and revising the thoughts reversing the thoughts, it makes much sense, because it's definitely true. In the moment, I tend to honestly forget and feel overused. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think especially for those of you that are parents or moms, particularly motherhood, I do. I feel used a lot. And I feel like I'm always giving. Like people are always taking off my plate, always needing me. And I read something and I was like, I have to change that mind frame. Like, thank God I have someone, you know, family to serve and to serve me. Thank God I get to come home to a full house that's lived in, you know? Like, I don't live in a museum, and because I have a robust fucking family, and like we're moving and we're cooking and we're having fun, and it requires that we keep the household, and that's my gift and my pleasure.
And sometimes just to add on to that, I look at our relationship sometimes like a privilege. Like, I'm honored and privileged to find somebody that I can love, that I can cook for, that I can be intimate with, that I can find different reasons and ways to show how much I love and appreciate them. Like, it's a world where the streets are crazy right now. Mm-hmm. The dating experiences are wild. And so when I can have somebody that I can pour love into, and I can feel that love being poured back into me, it's a privilege. And I want to respect and hone in on this relationship and this privilege, and really, really, really love it to its max capacity.
Hi, Bianca. And yeah, it is true. It is true. Like,
Hi, Gumbo 87.
That's Bianca. Hi, but it's true. I think that we all get burnt out. Mm-hmm. And it requires that we re-fucking calibrate where we're at and why, and how blessed and lucky we are. And it's cheesy. It's like, you know, be grateful, but no, truly be grateful. But not only be grateful, but also be willing to serve what you're grateful for. And I think people get, like, the word serve, particularly for women and for me, initially it was like, serve and submit, you know? Like, it's like some church shit. And I'm not, if you know me, I'm not much of a church bitch.
Make the plate, get on your knees and serve it.
Yeah, and then honestly, recently Orlando was like, you know, when we get married, I'd really like for you to make all my plates. And I was like, what do you think this is, nigga, the 1950s? But honestly, those are things that I used to aspire for. When I used to think about what I wanted in a relationship or a marriage, and I'm talking about before, like, jadedness, before, like, real life bills, before, like, high school, I was like, I want to be the woman that serves my family, that serves the plate, that looks really cute when he comes home from work. I wanted to be a housewife. Clearly that didn't happen. But I had to remember that those were once my aspirations, to be able to be grateful for what I have right now in front of me. This is something I've manifested. And a lot of times we, like, profess things with our mouths and we attract them, but we're so busy in our ether, like, in the moment, like, not in the moment, that we forget that we're in the present time of what we've asked for. And so we forget to just be like, oh yeah, I manifested this, and now it's time to bask in it and love it. And yeah, so some of the boys, me, Orlando is very cheesy all day, every day. We have a lot of physical touch throughout our day. He even at work, when I'm stressed out, especially when I'm stressed out, he's like, do you need a hug?
She's stressed out a lot.
And a lot of times I want to be like, no, nigga, I want $1 million. But it's hard to tell someone no when they're asking to offer you intimacy. And so a lot of us don't offer that. And I'm going to be honest, Orlando is the one that is more, takes more initiative in this space, and I'm grateful for it. And it does. It requires that one person be willing to be the cheesiest, most annoying person of the relationship, and then eventually you'll follow suit, because what's the alternative, right? Being negative and mad and wishing you had $1 million in 5 seconds. That's probably not going to get there in 5 seconds. So why not take the hug? Fuck it. And then most of the time, that is what really feels great. And what is the thing? 12 hugs a day?
Oh, yeah, 12 hugs a day.
Keeps the depression away?
Keep the depression away. Yeah. Yeah,
it was like
it.
5
Yeah.
is like it's like 2 is like minimum, like I forgot what it was, but like
2 is like scratching the surface, 5 is like maybe
standard,
yeah.
And 12 is like
if you really want to get to the happy place,
like
you
you're looking to live
a
a longer life type shit.
Yeah, essentially.
So, we're in a world. There's a lot of screens. There's a lack of intimacy, and just for those of you who may not be in a relationship, intimacy and touch is not reserved for romantic partners. You know what I'm saying? Like, the other day, yesterday I went to drop off my car to the mechanic, and I hugged the mechanic, and my daughter said, "Why'd you hug that guy?" I said, "Oh, he's always looking out for me. He's been my mechanic for a long time." And she was like, "Oh," I said, people need touch, and we forget that we're just humans, and we need that. And she's like, "Well, you don't really know him." I was like, "I know him enough. He's a human being." And I think people get away from touching people. We've been in the era of like COVID and germs and boundaries, and all those things are important. But like, even my friend, I try to. I mean, sometimes it's hard to remember with your friends, but like. So, and I'll be honest, sometimes it's easier to remember with strangers or people I don't see that often, but the people that are closest to you really require love and affection too. Oh, my mom's calling me. This is not the time. I'm talking intimacy on the internet. Did we pause? Sometimes that happens.
No, you're good.
But yeah, cultivating intimacy by just small touches. It doesn't even have to be like a full, like holding hands and eye contact. Yes, I love that butterfly ascension intervention. You must be a Cancer like me, because I will hug a stranger in the streets crying. She said, yes, I hugged a stranger today who was crying. We need that from each other. We do, and we've forgotten. Like, that is... one thing about Tantra is a part of it is connection. Mm-hmm. And connection is not just, like, with your romantic partners, but with people. Like, we are a community. We're all put on this earth together to experience connection.
Yeah, and to interject, we wait for that moment when we're with a partner to then emotional and intimacy dump. Like, we dump all of that on our partner, and then sometimes it can come across as love bombing, and we may not even mean to. But I can see how sometimes we put the pressure of the intimacy and the sexuality all on one person, and that one person can't do all of that. It's just not possible for a human being to be everything in that way for when you want it and the big dump that you give off to them. But if you give off a little bit of intimacy to a person here, to a person there, and not even in a sexual way, you get to release a little bit of that, and you don't feel like you're harboring or holding all this intimacy and all this love that you have to get out. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to use that because I was going to say it's like intimacy blue balls, but I know you don't like that. But you're just holding it all in.
And then dumping it.
You're dumping it on and feeling like there's one person that's supposed to have this, and that's not the case. You can have little moments of intimacy with friends, with family, and when it comes to your partner.
And some people get touched out, but I think sometimes like cultivating touch kind of raises your like capacity for things.
Yes.
I think people underestimate. I think when we think about medicine, we think about like Advil, we think about going to the doctor, but there's medicine that's planted in everyday existing that we don't view as medicine, and that's the problem. And you're right. Like, there's a lot of times when he's noticing I'm stressed, and he's like, "You need a hug," and I'm like reluctant, but I'm like probably immediately after
Intimacy
5 seconds.
backlog. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Monroe.
After, like, as immediately as soon as I touch him, I'm like, and that's another thing, like just breathing, and releasing with sound will bring you back down. You know,
And you can think a little clearer.
And you can.
It's like post
Not clarity.
Post-hug intimacy clarity.
Post-hug clarity.
Yeah, like that intimacy really clears blockages that you can have in your mind. Like when your mind is running, you're thinking 1,000 times a minute, and somebody just holds you.
And that's right, butterfly ascension. We don't know we need it sometimes. And that's why when he's like, do you need a hug? And I'm on a different lane. I'm in a different channel, and I'm on work. And I'm like, ugh, why is he doing this right now?
And that hug sorry.
It immediately releases this thing that I didn't recognize I needed to be released.
And that hug is really a breathe.
Yeah. And a lot of times we'll hug, and I'll try to pull away, and he'll be like, wait. Until I have to. I'm regulating my nervous system. I'm regulating my body, and I'm forcing it. It's like a cheat code in a video game.
Actually, you know what we should do? Let's show them how we hug, and maybe they can use it in their own practice. Because it's a very specific way of doing it. So, you're over there. Be stressed. Do the stress thing that you do.
I don't know why that's my stress face.
Hey. Do you want a hug?
Not really, but okay. And I never say not really. And then be cognizant of your partner's body, because sometimes I will keep being stiff.
And it's like sink into it. Just sink into it. You have to put your shoulders down.
And he'll wait. He'll make me stay until he feels my body.
Yeah. And you just got to put your shoulders down as the person that's being hugged. It's like you're melting in.
Yeah, it's a melting hug.
Sometimes fellas like the cheek on the head, if she's a little midget, you just, sorry, if she's a little person, just, a slight kiss. And then this is the important part that I like the most, is when we look at each other and I say breathe, but then I'll put my hand on her chest and a hand on her back. So it's like she's being held in a different way. Eyes are focused, and that breathing is in sync. There we go. Come back to me. One more time.
Good. And where I was annoyed and resistant, I will then surrender my resistance because I don't have a choice.
So when we're talking about a hug, we're not just like, hey, you stressed out. Come over here. Come on, my G. You all right? You all right? Get back out in there into the game. It's really a moment. It's a what's the I word? Intentional. It's an intentional hug. You bring the person in, you hug, you hold them, you comfort them, have them melt into your body. When you feel that melt coming in, then you lean into them a little bit more, give it a few seconds, you back up, hand over the heart, hand on the back, right behind, eye to eye contact, and then you synchronize your breathing.
This also works like if someone's having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, like literally physical touch. I went to a homecoming recently, and there was a girl who was on a college tour. There was like 60,000 people. It was like warm. It was overwhelming. There's music, and she was having a panic attack, and I kind of like
she was out of her state.
But I was like, I went close to her, and I'm like, I just like touched her, and just like so she can ground herself back into the present moment. And it's crazy. I was trying to make her make eye contact, and eye contact is very intimate, and a lot of people cannot do it. Or when they do, you'll find for like even 30 seconds, it immediately makes them so deeply uncomfortable if they can maintain the stare. A lot of times it releases like emotionally immediately. It's literally crazy how making eye contact with somebody can really cut through the bullshit and get straight to like where you're at. Like it's an immediate like surrender to your all your guards. It makes you disarm immediately. Like boom, 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 boom. Like the hug, boom, boom, boom. Like everything will come down. It can't. The force field doesn't work with hugs and eye contact. So it's something to consistently, constantly like be adding to your practice, to your relationship. And like even if it's not something you've done or you've maintained, like it's never too late. And then to consistently do it, because then it becomes routine, even if it's not something that you would regularly do.
I like you from the thing, though.
I know.
But yeah, hugs could be more than just wrapping your arms around somebody. It could be an intentional moment, an experience that you can have that can honestly either be beautiful for the time that you need it or a life-changing experience, and you never know whose life you can touch or change at that moment.
Yeah, and consistency is key. What are some more things that we do?
So we did physical touch.
I was going to say tantric speech.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking that. I was just about to say, let's go to the mouth. Let's do tantric speech.
Tantric speech.
Beautiful.
So this is a lot of free game. Whoever missed this, stupid. No,
Just kidding. Tantric speech.
Tantric speech.
This is your wheelhouse.
Oh yeah. People underestimate the power of words. You know, we're like casting spells all the time
Using that throat chakra.
with our words and with our thoughts, really. Like studying hypnotherapy made me so clear about the subconscious and like the thoughts that we think and how what happens on the inside is what manifests and cultivates outside of us, and just how we think about ourselves and our self image, and words are super important. The words we choose and how we choose to portray them to our lovers and to our kids are important. And a lot of us, I grew up in a black household, and that was not the norm.
And I grew up in a Jamaican household, and there was a lot of yelling.
Yeah, so and a lot of us grew up in those type of households, and so as adults, it's not our our initial go-to. And so a lot of in our household,
it's not our normalcy.
Our normalcy, it's not the standard. We have to actively shift that so that our kids grow up in spaces and that our relationships have the opportunity to cultivate in spaces where it's intentional. And so, for instance, Orlando brought it to my attention that I would be to my daughter, Luna, give me a kiss, give me a hug. And he'd be like, don't do that. I'm like, this is my daughter, and she's going to give me a hug. Don't tell me what to do and shut the fuck up. Don't come interject when I'm asking for a hug. And he's like...
Actual quote, by the way.
He's like, why would you ask her like that?
No, why would you demand intimacy?
Why are you demanding... It makes something pleasant negative. And I was like...
You've taken away her choice of how she wants to... give intimacy for you, and now you're making her feel like when somebody is demanding some form of intimacy from her, she is now obligated to give it to you.
It changes it changes the frequency of what you're requesting, and it changes a request into a demand. And then it somehow makes something beautiful and intimate and loving not, just by the words we use. So now I'm like, can I please have a kiss? Can I please have a hug? And so when we're talking to each other in our household, if someone forgets a please or a thank you, we're like, tantric speech, and sometimes it's really fucking annoying because it is not my go-to, but it does make me stay on my feet and on my toes, and him staying in my ass about it is very, it really does, tantric speech, and so it's something that even when I do it, whenever he's not around, I'll catch myself, please, and, it's can I please have a kiss?
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. And also, saying thank you. Mm-hmm. It's so elementary, you guys, but it really does change the frequency of what you're requesting, the request, and how it feels and how it's received.
Yeah, and it might come across, or the words might be used elementary, but the true word to describe it is simple. And it's to show that all the things that you need, let me take that back. The things that can be so helpful for you, that can change the frequency throughout of your day, can change your attitude, can change your mood, are actually very simple. The complexities that we've come up with to get to intimacy, to get to sexuality, to get to our comfort, has all been unnecessary. And actually the answers that we actually need are actually very simple. The word please and thank you just shows appreciation for the action that's happening around you right now. Please, can I have a kiss? Because I would really like that, because that's maybe something that I may need or want at the moment. Thank you for giving me that. I really needed or wanted, and you gave it to me, and I'm very appreciative of it. That's what the other person feels, and it gives encouragement to go back and do it again.
And you know what it is asking for what you need in a kind way. It does. It translates in the bedroom. A lot of people are having inadequate sex that's not pleasurable because you're afraid to ask for what you want, mostly because you don't know how to ask for it in a gentle way.
Yeah.
Can you please do this? And also acknowledging the request with thank you for giving, thank you for doing that for me. I really needed that. Mm-hmm. It is really tapping into your needs instead of making it somebody else's obligation. Mm-hmm. And making them responsible for reading your mind.
Yeah, similar to when you're holding on to that intimacy, not giving it off a little bit, and then you come to your person, and then it's a dump. And it's why you give me that intimacy. I've been waiting to give you a hug. Take this hug, like.
And then you get angry.
And then you get upset.
And then you're further away from the point.
Yeah.
So, like using tantric speech is a practice for asking for what you want in a way that is a request and not a demand. And again, it's like a lifestyle choice. It's like, am I going to be like, for myself, like a hard core bitch that I've been without recognizing it, or am I going to soften and like offer this other side of me to my family and to my loved ones and to my friends and to the people I encounter because I'm cultivating that frequency wherever I go? Or am I like, come on, like, and I used to be like, why are you getting so annoying? Like, who cares how I ask? You know what I mean. But it doesn't matter if they know what you mean. If you constantly hear someone demanding something from you, you can't tell the difference between when they're demanding something loving and when they're demanding you just to like do something. And so there's like you said, a frequency that is created when you ask in a kind, soft, and mannerist way.
Right. Mannerist is pretty good. And the point of tantric speech is to give you that vocabulary and give you that energy so that when you don't know how to speak to somebody, when you're in the realm of tantric speech, of softness, of kindness, of gentleness, then that becomes your norm of way of speaking. You don't have to have the actual words, the dictionary words put together. But when you're in the realm or the space of saying, hey, I'm going to exercise tantric speech, then that's the filter in what you're working from. Yeah.
And so you don't ever have to worry about like, did that come off wrong?
Yeah, so it'll be like, hurry the fuck up, and then through the filter of tantric speech, it'll come out as,
can you please hurry up? We know we have to go. Because I'm a hurry the fuck up and shut the fuck up type of bitch.
Yeah.
This has been active work for me right now. Morgan, sorry I called you Bianca, I'm thinking of only people's children, but said she just got into her first polyamorous relationship, and there are helpful communication tips.
Indeed, helpful.
And that, especially in poly relationships, there's a lot of motherfuckers. You gotta really, if one person's up or their energy is coming off wrong, it can fuck up the whole flow of everyone. Your other partner's mad, and even the same in a household. Like, if I speak to Luna like that, then she thinks it's okay to reciprocate in that same energy, and then I'm pissed off, and then it just changes the frequency. So, our household is full of love. We're constantly laughing. We're constantly asking kindly. We're constantly, and I see it, especially in my child, and that has been one of the biggest motivators. And, even him breaking it down for me that time, me telling Luna to give me a hug because I'm her mother, when he said that, it pissed me off, but it also put things in perspective for me, why I asked that way and how she's receiving it. And in her future, when she's dating men or whatever, and they're demanding things of her body, she can sense when it's not gentle, when it's not loving, and when it's not something she should, indulge in. But a lot of us haven't been trained in that way and in that frequency, and practiced and in that frequency. And so we're entering relationships with people that don't really deserve or are not in our frequency.
And they themselves don't understand and know, right? So
it requires that as you teach me, I teach you, and this is a contagious thing that we do, so that you this is your standard, your norm.
Yes. Would you like to I don't know if you give an example or what does tantric speech look like, or
you could give an example. I can't think. I mean, those are the ones I can think of that are.
So basically, what is tantric speech? Is it just talking nicely? Is it just having intentional
It's having intention. It's having intention with what you're at, the energy matching the request, and being conscious of it being a request and not a demand, and also just asking for what you want. People are like I said, have trouble expressing what they need in the bedroom because it feels uncomfortable, and a lot of times, no offense, men take it very personally, and honestly, women too. Because a nigga tell me I'm not sucking a good dick, I'm like, fuck you. As you can see, I'm a hardcore gangster turned tantra, so it's levels to this shit, but it's like if you're the type of person who goes to a restaurant and they fuck up your order and you're not willing to be like, hey, I think you got this wrong, or you wanted the extra avocado but you won't ask. Those are the ways, very small ways in which you, in your personal life and in your intimate life, you won't ask for what you need. And that makes you an unhappy person. So you can't be unhappy and then blame others when you're not teaching people and teaching yourself to stand up and ask for what you want and how to ask for it. So, can I give you a hand massage, please?
Yes, you can give me a hand massage. I've actually like my hand to be massaged. It's been a while.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Do you like this amount of pressure?
I do like that amount of pressure.
Would you like me to go harder or softer?
No, I don't think I want you to go any harder than you are right now. I appreciate that.
Is this a good spot?
That spot is, yes, it is a good spot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that helps with when it comes to tantric speech, and when you've practiced it and both you and your partner are on the same type of time, is that it helps for those people that don't know how to communicate, that don't know how to ask for something, that don't know how to say, like, yeah, like, I appreciated this. Like, just, it's not only about people that speak aggressively, but, you know, sometimes people that are nervous to ask for what they want. Like, this is a way of going about it, because the harshness or the nervousness or the shyness, it kind of gets like diminished away when you put it through the filter of tantric speech. And when people hear that intention and that softness when you're speaking to them, their walls tend to kind of get like broken down a bit, and they're more accepting of what you want to say and of your request.
When someone's asking for something of you so kindly, it's hard to be defensive, because it breaks down your defense systems. You're like, oh, they're asking really kindly, like, how can I say no? And it's also our responsibility to, like, if I'm giving him a massage, say thank you, that feels really good, to affirm what I'm doing so that it's inviting me to do it more. And as me as the giver, I'm constantly checking in with him. Is this a good spot for you?
Yeah.
Do you like this?
I do.
Is this a good pressure still?
That's one of the things about tantric speech that I actually love a lot, is when is a check-in. Like, while you're doing something, still checking in, like, hey, I know I just asked if I can do this, and you said yes, but I want to make sure that I'm still on the right path. I want to make sure that the intention is still the same when it comes to something as simple as rubbing your hand or giving you a hug, to let you know, like, hey, does this still feel good for you? Because people change their minds.
Yeah, and as the giver, I'm checking in because I want feedback, and that gives my partner permission, inviting him to tell me, hey, I'm looking for places in which if I need improvement, I'm all ears and I'm welcoming it, you know? And I think sometimes we forget to welcome constructive criticism, because a lot of us are like insecure. All of us have insecurities, and especially when it comes to things that you think you're supposed to know how to do. I'm supposed to know how to please my partner, but how can you know how to please someone that you don't know what they want? I'm not a fucking Miss Cleo. I'm not a mind reader, you know. Shout out to Miss Cleo. I gotta watch that, but it does. These are small little practices that will ultimately prepare you for things that are more important. And they're all important, small or large, because it cultivates an energy in your relationship that of like love, honestly.
Yeah. And back to this being a privilege, I want to use all the tools that I have that I'm privileged to have. I want to use all the things that keep my codependency with you at a certain level, because I can be an amazing man and an amazing person, but the level of man that I am when I'm with you is much different than how I would be if I was just single or by myself. So I want to upkeep that energy. I want to upkeep that privilege and that level of love in our relationship, because it's important that amazing, and it's important to me, and it's beautiful.
And it's like, do you take pride in your role as girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or mother? You know, like, I don't want to just be like a whatever girlfriend. I want to be a great woman. I want to be a great wife. I want to be a great mom. Just like I want to be a great boss bitch. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that if you would go to business coaching to up your entrepreneurial skills.
Shout out Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. You can also, you know, you constantly need to be in the mindset of upping the way in which you love your partner and being the best partner, because those are things, I'm assuming, that make you happy. You know, if we're all participating in things in life, work, like, you know, relationships, but we have choice. And if it's not something you choose to be in, then don't be in it. But if you're going to be in any relationship, friendship, then you have to come correct. And that's even for me. Like, I'll make a plate because I love you and I care for you, and it's not about being the self-righteous pro-feminist that I am. It's about I'm in a great relationship and I don't mind serving my man because he serves me all the time, and that it cultivates a love that's co-serving. I don't know if it's a word. Like, it's mutual, it's reciprocal, and it flows. You know, no one's feeling like taken from. There's no deficit. It's a constant flow. If my energy is low, he's giving. If his energy is low, he's giving, and we're pouring constantly into each other's cup, and it feels beautiful.
It does,
and it fills us all the time.
All the time. And one of the things, my last point of why I love tantric speech is how malleable it is. How you can use it in so many different spaces. If you're with a partner who has their walls up and you want to give them some type of level of comfort to like break down those walls so y'all can communicate, then that's one way. If you have a child or a friend who is upset, or your kid doesn't want to do homework and they're being frustrated, like, this kind of speaking really calms them down, brings them back to a normalcy. And even if you're at work, like talking to a coworker, talking to a boss, if you really want to get something out of somebody, using tantric speech in that space really affirms your coworker or whoever you're working with, and changes the frequency and energy in your workspace, and then you get more productivity out of that person. And so it's not just about using it in the bedroom, it's about using it in practice in all spaces of your life, and then you will see how productive other people are for you in a genuine, organic type of way. But people just want to do and be there for you because they feel comfortable, because those walls are broken down because of the tantric speech you have given them.
It literally creates a world in which, like, and sometimes I go out into the world and people are talking crazy, and I'm like, or have you been out with another couple, like, on a double date, and they're talking so, like, uncomfortably to each other, and it's like, ooh, why would they, what, did you peep that? Like, I never want to, like, I think sometimes me and Orlando are so loving, it's, infectious, and people either get uncomfortable, or it really highlights when couples are mean to each other. Yeah. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you together? If you don't like this bitch, leave her. You know what I mean? If you're in a relationship that you don't want it to feel like loving, then if it makes you feel like annoyed or resentful, if you have to like fucking criticize someone constantly, that might not be the person for you. You know, because it should be easy to love on and dote on your partner if you put it into practice. Like, because the truth of the matter, when it gets down to it, like, do I fuck with this person? Do I love him? Is this my friend? If it is, then, like, what would prevent you from pouring constantly into their cup and knowing that you're going to get poured back into?
Yeah. And the tantric speech actually hits two senses of intimacy, which is speaking and listening.
And also, when you speak positively, it influences the way you think. You know, I think we all have very, like, negative thoughts. The mind can be a really toxic place. So it's just reminding, my man loves me, and I know that because he's serving me all the day, all the time, so much. And so it's like, there's no confusion. So when my mind goes somewhere, like, this nigga's doing something, I'm like, bitch, no, he's not. Because my mindset and our practice is constantly affirming our love, whether it be, like, small things, subliminal, or very big things. I know what it is. There's no gray area. You know, it's safety. We're cultivating safety. And
this segues into another part, and one of my most favorite parts of tantric speech is tantric speech to yourself.
That's true. That's very true, because how you're talking to yourself is generally how you're talking to other people. And when you start to care about how you cultivate your relationships and your communication, you start to notice, because I noticed as soon as he said that to me about how I was demanding hugs and kisses from my daughter, I was like, oh shit, like, that is true. And it's not something I wanted to hear, or it didn't feel good to be reprimanded in that way, but I had to be honest about where that came from, why I'm speaking like that, and how am I speaking to myself. And it shifts. It shifted my relationship with myself, and like the communication in which, even in my mind, I'm having with myself. So when I'm going somewhere dark or negative, I'm like, we're not going to do that, you know? So it's like, we think about intimacy with others, but that first begins with how we treat and expect, others to treat us is from how we're treating and talking to ourselves and our minds and how we're treating our bodies and all those lovely things.
And one simple thing, just, because, we love to give you examples. But just one simple thing that I can think of when I speak to myself is, just when I go like, oh, you fucked up today. Or like, you're really fucking up right now. And there are times where I have to go, you're not a fuck up. You're not fucking up. You've had a day where, there's been days that have been better, but you're still here for tomorrow, and you're still here, and you still have the knowledge and all the things, so that tomorrow can be the best day ever.
There are ways to recognize. There are ways to recognize your flaws and when you fuck up without making it about your whole existence. Mm-hmm. And I think we're sometimes so hard on ourselves that we don't have a choice but to project that harshness to others. They fucked up. They're bad people. Like, no, bitch, they just fucked up one time. Just like you can fuck up one time, and you're still worthy, and you're still deserving, and you're still loved. But we're not used to talking to ourselves in that vein, and so we don't do that in our relationships.
And saying please, thank you, and you're welcome to yourself. Like, wow, I had a productive ass day today. Man, thank you for pushing through, Orlando. Thank you. Like, one thing I do love is mirror work. I love to look at my...
He's the king of mirror work.
I'm the king of mirror work. But honestly, looking into a mirror and looking at yourself and reaffirming yourself, please, thank you, and then you're welcome, as if it wasn't a whole other person. That's you as your conscious speaking to your body. Right? You are aligning with your body. You are on the same type of time and modality. And letting your body know, I appreciate you. Letting yourself know that I appreciate you for holding it down for yourself, right? And then when you speak to yourself in these positive manners, like, you start to change your vocabulary, and then what comes out towards somebody else is much different than what it was used to. If you're just sitting there angry with yourself, you're going to be angry with the world.
Or you're judging yourself. A lot of people are so harsh on themselves. Their judgment is that they don't recognize why they're so judgmental to others. It's because you're holding people to the same judgment that you hold yourself a lot of times.
This is a perfect example.
Or worse, like sometimes how you're treated, like the standard of what you're holding yourself, judging yourself, is worse than what you're projecting. But either way, inside, outside, same. And so if you're constantly judging yourself and what you're doing, and you're hypercritical, you're going to be hypercritical of everything outside of you, and it doesn't serve shit.
And that's what it is, that hypercritical part. It's like, I need things to be on point. I need things to work. I need to wake up in the morning, and I need to make sure I'm on top of it. And then when everybody else doesn't do the same, it's an issue. It literally is like a seed that festers in something either terrible or great. Yeah. And so to be conscious of the way in which you connect to yourself, and this is something I'm working on too, like mirror work. Even talking about eye contact with other people is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You'd be surprised how much we avoid eye contact with ourselves, even in the mirror. Like, there'll be times I'll get all the way dressed all the way in the car, and I'll be like, did I fucking really look at myself? Mm-hmm. Like, really look at yourself, take a moment. And it's like connecting, that connection piece. And we're living in such a fast moving world that we forget to connect with others, and most importantly, connect with ourselves. Yeah. Bless you. Bless you.
That's a cough.
You can still be blessed even though you cough.
Oh, okay, thank you. But we're gonna wrap this up soon. I know it's been like an hour.
I mean, we've done really good. Like, for your eyes and your we covered a good amount of all the senses. For your eyes and your nose, you can visually take in what's going around you and feel the intimacy in that way. You want the aroma, the smells to feel good. We talked about bringing fruit or something like that and feeding it to your partner after post sex or post intimacy, and that's very helpful. We talked about tantric speech, which is speaking and listening, and we talked about the physical touch.
Yeah.
And the hugging and stuff like that. Like, we're killing it over here.
Yeah, someone said I love to be gentle and understanding of this concept, and that's a thing. That's another thing. Even as the thing with Tantra is, like, once you start to check in with these things, check in with your body, then it kind of plants a seed. You're gonna remember this conversation. You're gonna remember the next time you say something harshly, you're gonna be like, "Fuck." But the point is like to gently bring it back, gently be kind to yourself in the practice. Because sometimes I forget. I curse a lot, and so it comes off harsh to people, and I forget, and sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I'm a bitch. No, I'm just working out of a years
Sorry.
years and years of growing up in an environment where that was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to know that change sometimes takes time, and it's not going to happen overnight. And like, I'll probably be working on this practice forever.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
the tantric speech with that is, whoa, I definitely might have messed that up today, and I could have done better. And you know what? I recognize that, and tomorrow I will make that
and
effort to do
apologizing,
that.
saying it out loud to the person you fucked up with, and even to yourself, like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. You know what? You're worthy. You're smart. Today wasn't such a good day, but tomorrow's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. It's nice to be reminded, and that's why, like, I love planting the seeds for other people, because I do think it's these small conversations that shift, you know, the energy and the frequency. And we are in a place that we could all use some more love, and intimacy and connection, because the world is a crazy place, and ultimately, we're the most powerful beings. You know, we're God beings, and people take away. Remove the God from the human, but it's the same. You know, if we're made in the image of God and the Spirit, like, we're all an extension of this God-like energy. We all have the power to create our reality, and by just tapping in and tuning into those very simple things, how we talk, how we connect, the energy in which we're the frequency in which we're operating at. These are very, like, foundational ways to shift the trajectory, to shift the greater energy of, like, the collective. And, like, it starts here, and then it starts here, and then it starts in your household, and then we go here, and then this is how these things shift and grow, and you know, we could go protest, or we could just love on each other deeply and love on ourselves, and that also changes the trajectory of this crazy fucking world.
Well fucking said, my brother, my sister. I was in my bro moment with you. No, well fucking said. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is really making me very excited to do this couples retreat with you.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And then also we're doing a couples retreat in June in Costa Rica on the Caribbean side. You have like 7-8 months to prepare, to pay. So if, like, that's something, if you are in love and you want to cultivate your love deeper, and you want to
reconnect on your love, do all these things. I mean, a couples retreat is a beautiful experience. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be out in Costa Rica. We're gonna take care of your vacation. Like, we want to take care of your couple's vacation
and take care of you. People don't get to be taken care of as a couple a lot. So
because you're always in the constant mode of taking care of that person, taking care of me, and then when there's somebody else is involved, it's like, okay, well, I gotta protect my person still. Like, we want you to just come and just relax and just chill, just, like, really just melt into our arms and feel that comfortable.
And get the medicine, you know. And this work is important to me and to us, because I do feel like this is my contribution to the collective, you know, like.
And we love people.
Spreading the love is my contribution, and teaching other people how to spread the love too, and recognizing that the love is the medicine, and pleasure is medicine, and, you know, in all forms, in play, in friendship, in adventure, in exploration, like play. You know, we have our life in the bigger scheme of things is short. It's like a dot on a big, you know, fucking page of ink. And so, like, why not make it the very fucking best experience, filled with so much love and so much intimacy and so much connection and so much fucking pleasure, because we're all deserving of it. It is our birthright. Pleasure is our birthright. Connection is our birthright. And, like, I know a lot of us have had terrible experiences, trauma, wounds, and we can sit in those things, and sometimes it really, really, really requires that we fight for the love, we fight for the intimacy, we fight for the pleasure, because that's all we got. You know, cultivate the shit that you want in your life.
Someone said, "Oh, I need to get on that." I've been wanting to go with that. Yes, please come. And
you can come with your poly couple. We can do a triple.
Yeah, we'll figure it out for you. But no, if you're really interested in, you know, just these dynamics and these conversations, and, like, this is not the only things that we use to practice, but these are just a few things that we use. Like, little nuggets. Little morning Saturday morning nugget. Like, you know, you can hit us up. You can DM us, like, everybody that's here. If you're interested in a couples retreat, or just more, like, DM us. It's Hoochie Mom and Dad, or Good Moms _Bad Choices, Mila _Matt.
Our shared, like, Instagram is Hoochie Mom and Dad. And we have a podcast called Love Like This.
Yeah.
And we're talking a lot of things, intimacy, pleasure, tantra.
Family.
For those of you that don't know, I'm a Tantra practitioner and a sexologist. And so these are like Tantra practices, and there's so much more. There's so much more. This is really the tip of the iceberg, and it's important. Like a lot of us, people of color, just people in general, we don't grow up in households where this is the norm, and so we're learning. And in order,
we're learning and teaching each other.
Yeah, we're learning, we're teaching each other, and we have to share and practice. And like this is how we make sure our kids have the space to witness great love, and so that they can attract healthy, great love too.
So yeah, hit us up in the DMs if you want. I don't know what's the DMs, Couples Retreat or CR, Couples Retreat Costa Rica, whatever you DM us, we can like give you more info on it if you're interested. Or
there's links in bios, and also right now the deposit's only $22 to commit.
Oh,
that's like the cheapest it's ever been, and it's to make it easy. A lot of people don't want to invest in things like this, but it makes the world a difference. It can make the world a difference for your marriage, for your relationship, and for the trajectory. So.
And hey, we are not planning on making this be the only one. So if June isn't in your wheelhouse or your time frame, then we plan on having more. So, you can still hit us up and we can give you the information on this one, and then you can have information on future ones, and we could just keep sending you information. Tantric information, love information, intimacy information, sex information.
But thank you for joining us this morning. I have to go do my child's hair and go to fucking Universal because I'm an over-promising parent.
Yes, you are.
And you're coming. And I didn't get that fucking season pass for nothing.
Love y'all.
Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
La, 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 like this.